Shut up and sit down.
Howdy guys, it's Andy from Bigmeks Workshop and Painting Studio, and welcome back to the channel. Some time ago we started off a paint system of nice and easy, fairly straightforward paint systems for various different chapters of Space Marines. We've done Acropolis Hawks and some Salamanders and various other things. This time around we're doing one of my favourite chapters due to sheer badassery, and that is the Flesh Tearers. Now these guys don't care, and I'm totally down with that. And as you can see, as a Blood Angel successor, we've got to start off with red, and KHORNE red is the go-to point for Flesh Tearers. That way you'll get a nice dark deep red rather than a more Blood Angel sort of bright colour. So to add some shading, what we're doing is we've got some RHINOX hide, and we're pretty much 50-50 the RHINOX hide with the KHORNE red, and this is going to replace the choice of using a wash. So what we're doing is going about halfway up the darker sections, inside his the arms, under the knees, anywhere what's will be naturally in shadow. And as we're just doing a nice thick band of this darker paint, and we're going to paint in these shades real gentle. So as you can see, really thin paint. This is pretty much pure RHINOX hide, and we're doing a second layer of shading right into the deepest sections of the recesses, and this is going to be it's going to really start to stand out once we've got the highlights in, and we'll start blending all the colours back together. So what we've got now is WAZDAKKA red mixed with the KHORNE red, and we're going towards the upper sections now and doing basically what we did before with the darker colour, but on the upper sections where the highlights are. So we're starting off with again a 50-50 mix of WAZDAKKA and KHORNE red, and this is a nice pastel colour. It's going to really start to bring the darker and the light sections together, and you're going to get a real interesting effect. So now we're using Evil SUNZ plus WAZDAKKA. As you can see, it's nice and bright. We're going to get some of those highlights start to blocked in around the Aquila, or across the top of his torso. Anywhere the light would naturally hit, we're going to start etching in a lot of these highlights before we start to blend everything really closely together. So now I've added a bit more Evil SUNZ, and we're just starting to finish off some highlights, bringing those colours back together, really starting to add some nice bright colours to the upper areas. As you can see, I'm even going into some of the darker areas just to blend some of the colours together. This is going to really add some nice detail to it. So again, more highlights. As you can see, what I'm doing is I'm mixing the KHORNE red with the other colours, various intervals, and just to blend the colours in a little bit wherever the definition between the colours is a bit too stark. So you just mix the colours together, you go over the layer. Remember to keep your paint really thin, and what you'll get is a nice subtle transition between these colours. As you can see, got some starting to add some more Evil SUNZ, really starting to bring those edges out. It's going to make the corners really stand out. We've done a pre-edge highlight on a previous layer with the Evil SUNZ red, and then we blended it in slightly, and then we're keeping these highlights on the insides of those darker highlights as well. So this is the Leo's flat black. It's going all over the backpack, the shoulders, the helmet. Now any black will do for this. It just depends on what you've got to hand. I like the flat black, real nice flat matte colour. You can get a nice smooth coat with it. And what you're after is the Aquila, the shoulders and the helmet as evenly coated as possible. Into the guts and the flexible sections, and that is Oily Steel by Vallejo. I tend to stay away from the GW metals, apart from a few. I prefer the way the Vallejo and the Scale 75 ones move around a little bit. The leather work for his pouches and his holster is RHINOX hide, so that'll tie in really nicely with the RHINOX hide undertone on the armour. It's going to bring them together, but with it being just an undertone, it's not going to make it too obvious, so it doesn't actually stand out, but it still brings the colours together somewhat. I'm going to start off with Black Grey now by Scale 75 for the black highlights. As you can see, it's a lovely colour for this. You can just go over the entire thing, and it's as dark, it's as close to black as you can get without it being black. So long as you leave some of the actual black in there, visible on the recesses, you'll get a real nice coverage, and you'll also start to add some very, very gentle highlights to the black regions. So now I've added some Griffin Grey. So what you've got something about the same sort of colour as Mechanicus Battle Grey, Mechanicus Standard Grey, sort of a nice mid-grey, maybe towards the slightly darker end of the mid-range colours. And we're starting to add some line highlights in anywhere where, as always, where the sun would hit initially. Obviously, in the darker sections, we're trying to keep some of the black showing. So what you're going to get is a real nice transition between the black and the grey. Now at this stage, the Aquila just looks grey, which is not what we're going for. But we're still going to continue highlighting it in the same way. Now we've added some more graphene grey. It's pretty much pure graphene at this point. Graphene's a Scale 75 colour. Again, it's kind of on the mid range colours, and I'm just starting to add some fine highlights in now, just lining it all up. We're not going to worry about the Aquila just yet. Now I'm sticking with the GW colour pattern. This is how they paint their, or this is the standard colour scheme of Flesh Tearers. Now I personally would go for a golden Aquila. I think it would look really nice against the reds, but that's just a personal take. I obviously wanted to keep this close to the artwork as possible, but not doing it in GW's ways. So I've added some khaki into the RHINOX hide. I'm just going to add some highlights to it. Keeping the highlights fairly loose. Wanted to be able to add some depth on there from a wash, that sort of thing. And just going to bring some more highlights in with this khaki. As you can see, adding some kind of diagonal lines across the raised areas on the holster. I think this paint was a little bit thicker than I expected, so it made the highlights quite stark. This is Boreal green now. I'm using it for the grenades and the eyes and any of the purity seals. You could use Caliban green, similar sort of colour. Using green simply because it stands out really nicely against the reds, and it really just sort of breaks everything up a little bit and brings a bit more colour to it. As also, I point a note, I've gone over all of the black sections with anoin oil, and that's just brought all the colour together, making it look a little bit more black without taking anything away from my highlights. just sort of blending the highlights in a little bit. Using the same Irati green under the eyes as I have on the Purity Seals, and just mixing the two together for the highlight on the grenade packs. So this is a little bit extra. I decided I'm going to freehand the logo. Now I use a sort of an off-white, pale grey, I believe it is, by Vallejo, and made something represent roughly circular. Now then I went over it with a white and made it a bit more circular, and it's kind of, the image is kind of a saw blade. So using a thin brush, I start to make little sort of curved lines into the saw blade at fairly regular intervals, and then went back and painted a nice little red blood drop over it, just to finish off the logo. So this guy hasn't had an oil wash. He's just straight off the bat as he was. Didn't take too long to paint this mon. So if you you could do it if you've really got the patience to go for a full army like this, but as I said, probably more for your sort of a high-end units rather than your line units and your characters. And there you go. That's a flesh tearer and painted in the standard colours, but with a slightly different way about doing it. Anyway, guys, as always, got our thank yous to make. So thank you guys for watching this. We really do appreciate any interaction, so please feel free to leave us a message. We read every message and we try to reply to as many as possible as well. So as always, got a massive thank you coming up for the Oak Boys: Matt, Ludwig Hofbauer, D-Wack, Mark, Dave, Tom, Spiky Dude, Warren and Ben. Also White Metal Games as well. So massive thank yous to you guys. You guys help keep the lights on. We really couldn't do this without you. So please, if you'd be so kind, just check out the Patreon. We try to update it as often as possible, but obviously we're just getting back into the swing of things after Christmas, so we will get there. Also, massive thanks to Element Games and the Outpost. There are affiliate links which are in the description. Standard sort of retail value, 25 to 20% discounts, and we also get 5% store credit at no cost to you. So we win, you win, and nobody loses. In any case, thank you for watching this, guys, and we shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye.